back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Kevin and Jeff here. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Let's start with you, Kevin. How'd you get into the roofing industry?
I'm a third generation contractor. My father didn't want me being a contractor, so I went to school for engineering at Florida Institute of Technology. Got in about 3 years. My father got sick, so I went back to help out the family company. And they say that construction is like the mafia. The only way out is in a casket. Right, the only way you're gonna get out of it once you're in. And that's the way it was for me. It's and I've made more than I would have ever made as an engineer. So I just stayed in the industry.
Very cool. Jeff, how about yourself?
Yeah, so years ago, I was into running health clubs, and a friend of mine came in and he asked me, he said, would you be interested in going storm chasing? And I was single, so I said, yeah, let's do it. So went out storm chasing and ended up owning several roofing companies, doing great. And like Kev says, made a ton of money.
What did you learn running and being part of that type of business?
Running health clubs really helped me understand people and how to identify and how to sell, right? And so when I went out storm chasing, getting into the roofing industry, I found out that I was really good with people, had a previous background with public speaking, and traveled all over the country doing that as well. So it really just kind of solidified that. And then, of course, running health clubs for me gave me a great business background on how to grow something from its inception until it was honestly very successful. And I was able to exit out of my one company by selling back to my business partner. So that was great. And of course, I went and traveled as a pro bodybuilder for some years before retiring out of there and coming to work with Kevin, because I did not want to own another roofing company. I just wanted to sell and make money. And so that's what I did. And I love working with people, working with guys, helping train and do all of that stuff.
Kevin, what was it like working and running a family business?
I started running the business in Florida, but what I learned very quickly was how, again, like Jeff had said, how to manage people. I was, in my early 20s, and I was managing people that were, twice as old as, or more. So it gave me a lot of patience. Let's say this. It also came from, I was a master black belt in Taekwondo. I spent about 16 years in Taekwondo. So I also had taught, and I ran a school doing that as well. So between that and between running my parents' company, I really learned how to manage people. And, something that I love to see the most was taking someone who, didn't have a lot of skills, maybe was kind of down and out, and taking them and training them and teaching them a new skill, a new trade, to where then they were able to change their lives around. And I get that from my father. My father did that. He was a recovered alcoholic for like 26 years or so, 27 years before he passed away. And he did that same thing. So I kind of got that from him.
Yeah. You talk about training. How do you identify the right person to sort of pour into?
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's like, to be honest with you really can't at first, because a lot of it is work ethic, right? So me and Jeff, we could teach and train roofing sales, right, all day long, right? But we can't teach work ethic. And then that guy that looks like he would make the perfect salesman, or that girl who looks like they would make the perfect salesperson, might be completely the wrong person for that organization. And not until you really get to know their work ethic and their drive and what drives them and their why is really, not until you know that, is then you know whether to pour into them or not,
Got it. Obviously being a pro athlete, Jeff, definitely takes a lot of work ethic. Give me an example of how hard you were working.
I am an extremely goal-oriented person. I set goals, I go after it, and nothing stops me. But when it comes to discipline, I love what Kevin and I say all the time. Man, we can teach you how to sell.
Yeah.
But when it comes to work ethic, You just can't. The one thing I learned real early on as a coach in the bodybuilding space was everybody thinks that they can do this or they can do it at a high level. And it's not until the rubber hits the road or the everyday grind hit that you find out. And we find that out in the sales world as well. Everybody wants that big trophy at the end, make that $1 million. But in the everyday grind, that's where your mettle is tested.
Kevin, you mentioned, once you get into roofing, you're not leaving. What do you like about it?
Well, originally, when I started in the company, it was again, I grew up in the construction industry where we did exterior, so all different type of exterior items, and roofing was one of them. But when I really started focusing on the roofing side, it was, for me, it was a lot more of the freedom of it too. I always loved being up on the roof. It was a little bit different. And then again, I get excited about chasing the storm, right? Because that just excites me. A big storm happens, we're going out, we're mobilizing, we're getting a team together, we're going out and we're selling, and that always excited me. It's different than if I'm just, like the way that my family company was, where we're just kind of selling a product in our local area, and we're just waiting for people to call us, and because it's an established company for that time. I like that stuff where it's like, hey, let's get the whole army together, let's get the troops, let's boots on the ground, and then go after it. I just love that kind of proactive approach to it. I forgot to explain too that I do come from the insurance background as well. So I had a roofing company, I sold it, had a non-compete, and then I became an insurance adjuster. I worked for multiple carriers. So it's also where so between me and Jeff, I'm more of the informational kind of technical guy. Jeff is really the expert on the sales side. I come in I've gotten very proficient at fighting the insurance company because I played double agent, right? I've been double agent of the industry, and I've been on both sides. I've been on the dark side, I've been on the light side, right? So it, I've enjoyed both. It's been good, but any type of part of the storm industry has really become my life.
I tell you what, roofing has really changed my life and my family. And one of the things that we love about being in this space, in the training space now, is that we actually go in and we're able to help people. And that's our heart, right? Is we want to help people, man. And I remember when we were starting out and all of that stuff, and people wanted to charge us huge amounts of money to help them, or to help us. And we're like, man, we don't want to be those guys. We want to be guys that really that are a great help to the industry.